Alright y'all, I'm finally here making this video. I'm gonna try to run through these topics kind of quick because it's gonna be kind of long me on these topics. Pretty much the next video will be better scripted, and I'll be able to talk about one topic and go deeper into it, so just leave suggestions, ideas. I'll cook up some videos in the archive, and push them out over time. So let's get right into it. My sister want to know what's wrong with these niggas. Pretty much, to sum it up, pretty much young men that don't really have goals. A lot of them, they just drifting around, following trends, Instagram, scrolling through Facebook. And hip-hop has been weaponized and turned against the black community. If you're not supposed to really live that shit. It's supposed to be taken as entertainment, you know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be, so people don't realize that, they be so caught up in just following trends, and they don't really want to necessarily settle down right now. They're young, they want to do, unless they got their mind right, they got their goals set ahead, they want to find someone that's looking for the same thing as them, you know what I'm saying? And that also could be tied into the next question, any kind of black history. Yeah, and it comes knowing who you are. America, they teach us that we started off as slaves, and slavery and Black History Month, civil rights, and we fought for equality, Rosa Parks, and then Martin Luther King. They made everything all right, and no disrespect to them, nothing like that, but that's not necessarily right, you know what I'm saying? It's not that they lie to us, they just don't teach us all of history, they don't go back to Africa and teach us about, great empires, Kush, the great Mali, how great Egypt is, the pyramids are pretty much a giant power plant, an ancient power plant, and they're way older than they tell you are, so it's a lot of, history I could go into with that, even being life started in South Africa, of all human beings, the most common ancestor to human beings is Homo erectus, and that evolved into human beings. And some they branched out of South Africa, went up into the Caucasus Mountains, and evolved into Neanderthal, and Homo sapiens interbred with Neanderthals, thus creating the Caucasian. So the people in Africa, if they take DNA tests, they're 99% Homo sapien. There's no Neanderthal DNA. But everyone else around the planet, everyone else with European descent, or even us here in America, if our ancestors were raped, they share 2 to 10% Neanderthal DNA, whereas the South Africans, where their ancestors never left, never bred, they don't have any Neanderthal DNA. So that's just, they don't teach you how great, you are as a black, and what it is, not to take away from any other race. This isn't what this is going to be, just the, even though, I love being black, it's pro-black, I'm going to talk about black history. So if you don't want to hear these things, or just hearing this makes you mad, you might as well just go ahead, opt out, block me, delete me. But yeah, we're going to move on. I could talk hours on black history, could talk hours on all these topics, but I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Rex, he wants to know my views of raising the minimum wage to 15. There's pros and cons. The biggest con, I guess, is gonna be inflation. Pretty much also though, the cons, inflation, and jobs are gonna probably shorten your shifts to you probably get paid the same. You get 15 an hour, but they'll probably shorten your shift to keep it where they're not losing out on money and having to close business or cutting workers. You got people losing jobs. You got, there's definitely a lot of cons to, raising it up to 15. You got small businesses might close because they can't afford to keep up and pay everyone 15. You got other workers that, oh, well, he's getting paid 15 to fucking scrub the toilet, and I'm over here, I want more. So it's gonna be probably not the best to just shoot it up to a high number. There's definitely some middle ground. I feel like some of the pros that there is though, old Johnny, who's been doing the same job at fucking McDonald's somewhere in the state, making $4 an hour and shit. I don't know if people know it or not, but the prices on everything are rising if we get the wage jump or not. Inflation, that's gonna happen regardless. It's kind of like think about back in the day, you could go to the store and buy like milk, eggs, bread, dinner for like $5 back in like probably the 60s or some shit. Now that's not even gonna get you a gallon of milk, you know, due to inflation. So sometimes raising the wage is bad, like good, it's bad. I feel like there's a middle ground. Maybe 15 is too high, but I feel like the governors over each state should kind of, you know, because minimum wage, you know, it's not just gonna, it's not the same everywhere. You know, it depends on the state, the county, the city. That varies, you know. So like for instance, just across the bay from where we live, they minimum wage probably like $7.50. You know, 5 to like 8 on a good job. So a lot of people come over here to work because our minimum is 10. You know, like 9 and 10. So we could talk more on politics. Pretty much, don't fall into the divide. You know, left versus right, because they're gonna use small things like this that really doesn't have to be an argument to make more hate and anger for each side while they're fucking everybody behind the curtain. So just be aware of politicians being, you know, getting into politics. Don't try to ride onto anyone's policy so hard, because these shits were, you know, written without you specifically in mind. They're, you know, written to keep these suit and tie motherfuckers rich and suit and tie motherfuckers. So we can move on from that. You know, I'm gonna have to talk more about politics actually with this next one. The president. I don't know if you mean Trump or Biden, but I'll tell you, you know, they're both pedophiles. I don't like them personally. Me sitting in the room with them, I wouldn't really have much to say to them other than critiquing them. I mean, I don't really know. I don't have much to critique of Biden other than the pedophile shit. We should give him a chance with the policies. I mean, he's in office. Same with all the politicians sitting in chairs. They're already in the chairs and they're pedophiles writing laws, you know, and no one's really doing shit about that. So he's there. We should give him a chance, and, you know, I guess with the policies, but, you know, he's already walking on thin glass doing that weird, creepy shit, smelling kids. But, you know, Trump, he's on, you know, documents with Epstein settling out of court for sexual abuse of a minor. So, you know, a lot of people don't know that, or they think it's fake news or whatever the fuck, but that's real. That's real. Like, that's real documents, you know. I'll put that on screen or link to it. But, you know, I don't really have much to say on him. You know, he's only been in office, you know, I don't even know if a week or two, you know. So other than saying that he's a pedophile and we should sit back and watch, I don't have much to say on him. Trump, I could rant all day about, you know, why I don't like him. And I could also rant about how he has done things, you know, that people should give him credit for. But overall, fuck Trump, you know. He wasn't a good president. He wasn't, you know, like a shit stain in Obama's drawers, you know. And even Obama shouldn't be praised so much. What he did for blacks, because people always like, what did he do for blacks? What did he do for blacks? He gave you a role model to look at. Like, you could look at, like, look, you could be that. You could be the president. He did it. You know what I'm saying? That's what he did for you. He made you, black people, the president. You know what I'm saying? When people probably laughed and thought, you know, that would never happen. There'd never be a black man in the office, you know. That's what he did for you if he did nothing else. I could go into things he actually did for the black community, but put some respect on Obama's name, you know. He, you know, and not all presidents should be worshipped as a deity, because a lot of presidents are responsible for the deaths of soldiers and, you know, civilians and, you know, POWs or whatever the fuck, the torture. So, you know, if they know that shit's going on and they okay with it and they go to sleep, you know, fuck you. So fuck Obama for certain things of that, you know, same with Trump and possibly Biden. So we can move on. Also, Nick, yeah, he wanted me to talk about the president. So that wraps it up to the last question, or the last topic. Big Duke 2 Live. Shout out Big Duke. He wanted me to talk about how I feel about medications. So pretty much, how do I feel about taking them, or the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. I feel like there's definitely, medicine is, you know, one of the things humanity, you know, like, it's like God playing God, you know, but I feel like it's definitely a breakthrough that's needed. You know, I was on medication until I was 12 for blood thinners, you know. A lot of y'all know I had open heart surgery at 2 days old. So technically I'm like a fucking science project. I shouldn't even live if I was born in the wild. I feel like medication is, like, you know, it's important. People who are prescribed like shit for their brain psychologically, you know, schizophrenic people or people with depression, who the medicine is helping them, they should keep taking that shit. Yeah, there's side effects that might fucking cause your pinky finger to fall off, or you get cancer, or, you know, ultimate diarrhea or whatever the fuck. But you know, I feel like overall medicine is good for people who need it. But what do I feel about the pharmaceutical industry pretty much being big suit and tie drug dealers that are doing the same thing they're locking up, you know, young black men for, but on a much bigger scale, you know, putting drugs into communities like Oxycontin when they know opioids are, you know, highly addictive and killing people, or, you know, overdosing, when they fight wars overseas, you know, to protect the poppy seed, you know, because they know exactly, you know, they know what they're doing. I feel like when it comes to that part of the pharmaceutical industry, it's bullshit, you know. Something should happen about that, you know, like Martin Shkreli, if any of you know who he is, the dude who bought the Wu-Tang album. Pretty much, he had this medication for HIV or AIDS, and it was going for like $1 or $2 a pill, and he raised it like overnight to some crazy ass number, like, you know, like not even 200,000 or something a pill. And, you know, I feel like shit like that should not be allowed or possible, you know. But, you know, who am I to say any of that? I'm not a politician. I don't have any power to do that shit. I could just vote, you know, for bills and laws. But yeah, medications, definitely good for people who need it, bad for people who don't abuse, you know, opioids unless, you know, you feel like, then just don't do it, bruh. Just don't fucking do it. It's not good. But those were all the topics y'all gave me. Appreciate y'all for giving me some feedback. Gave me a nice little, you know, video to sit here and talk some shit. But next video will be more scripted. I'll pick one topic and go into it very in-depthly. Might explain history of like how hip-hop was turned against the black community. I could talk about that from start to beginning. You know, I got a lot of topics here: science, space, astrology, deep ocean discoveries, archaeology, you know, more politics, more black history, psychology. I'm really into understanding how people's brains work, woke consciousness, whatever, if you want to call it. You know, I feel like that shit isn't real. It's just a word, you know. People start using when they start figuring out shit. They might not even know a lot of shit. Like, they might figure it out, oh, the government lied about fluoride in the water. Stay woke. And now they feel like they are smarter than someone because they figured out like one thing. So I don't use the term woke. I don't care if you use it. I don't like it. Could talk about the media, you know, declassified documents, CIA documents, you know, real shit that people don't really care about, you know, conspiracy theories that were proven true. Technically, it's not a conspiracy theory, you know, it's a fact. So I will go over shit like that. You know, the Matrix, explaining what reality, you know, is. I get into some spiritual shit too. So appreciate y'all for giving my video a click. A thumbs up and a share would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, man, I'll be back with some more shit, more content, more knowledge to spread. And y'all stay safe out there, man.